video right now.
I just got a black screen. All right, good deal. Hi, I'm Roger Pascal, the CEO of Real Impact Training Systems. Hope everybody's doing well tonight. We've got a phenomenal meeting tonight, and I'm trying to get my screen up, make sure that we're on. All right. For those of you who have not been on our call before, there we go. Okay. For those of you who have not been on our call before, we have a weekly chat, a weekly YouTube meeting that we work with, and we want to make sure that we're here to get you all the answers that you need. So we're here to improve the quality of people's lives in real estate investing. We have several locations throughout Texas, and now we have one up in Oklahoma City that provides you, the investor, with local networking and educational meetings. Our locations are franchises owned and operated by seasoned investors who we call Real Impact Master Trainers, in short, IMTs. In addition to monthly meetings and workshops, our IMTs also offer a variety of one-on-one mentoring programs that can help you all on your real estate journey. If you're interested in learning more about our training, please reach out to one of our Impact Master Trainers, which we call IMTs for short. You can find the IMT locations and contact information online at realimpacttraining.com, or just click one of the location buttons in the middle of the screen below this YouTube link. In a few minutes, several of our IMTs will be joining us, so you can meet them tonight. One of our primary objectives with each Sunday night is to provide you with an opportunity to ask questions about real estate investing. No need to wait for the work week to just start. So type your questions in the chat, and we'll see if we can get you any answers, or we will get you the answers to your question. If you don't have the chat button on the YouTube link down here, you need to make sure that you subscribe to this YouTube channel, and then the chat box will come up. So I'm excited tonight that we have this meeting is going to be based on building your business plan. This is one of my favorite lessons that we have in our Real Impact training. This is one of our favorite aspects of doing business. So when I'm working if I have my realtor hat on and I'm working with a real estate investor, and they come to me with their business plan and they have their criteria in place, and they know what properties they're looking for, where they're looking for it, and describe exactly what that is so much easier for me as a real estate agent, as somebody that can help you build your business. If you come to the bank and or any money lender, and you have this business plan in place, it's going to help them help you build your business, because they're going to know exactly what you're looking for. So I'm excited about this. So you take this to any realtor, you take this to any money lender, you have your business plan in place, you take it to your CPA, take it to your bookkeeper. They're all going to be on the same page with you, and everybody's going to know what you're working with. So this is what we do in Real Impact, is we help our investors that we work with build a business plan and make sure that all that is in place for you to go forward. So we have several of our IMTs, Impact Master Trainers, on the call tonight. And once again, this is about business plan. So CJ, can you throw everybody up on the screen so we can get this thing rolling?
Hi.
Hi there. All right. Okay. So here's what we've got. They may jump around on the screen a little bit until this gets done. But Dennis Henson, my business partner and the founder of Real Impact Training. Dennis, welcome on board tonight. Great to see you. And then we have Karen Maxwell. She's our IMT Impact Sales and Marketing aspect. And she has new things happening that's going to be happening in a couple of months. So we're excited about that. And she's going to be our moderator tonight. I almost called you a monorail. I don't know where that. I guess I'm at Disney or something.
Because I have one track.
And then we have Eric Short, and Eric Short is currently, there he is, right there. So he's on his cell phone. And then we have Doug and Renee Toon. Doug and Renee Toon are in the Longview, East Texas area. So welcome on board tonight. So this is great. I have the tip of the week this week is going to be building your business plan. And I'll be talking about the tip of the week this week. So on your business plan, as you're building that, it is literally going to be your roadmap to making your business work. So every student that we have that goes through our program, part of their assignments, part of what they have to do is build their business plan. And we work with them on this business plan every single week as we go through this program. Now, if you think you can go and you can build a business and you can make your business grow without a business plan, you're nuts. You've got to have a roadmap for where you're going and how you're going to get there. You can't just say, I'm going to be a real estate investor and I'm going to buy houses. You know, what kind of houses you're going to buy, where are you going to buy them at, how are you going to get the money, who are you going to partner with on various things, how are you going to build your team, all those areas in there. So the tip of the week this week is build your business plan, because that's what builds your business. So with that, I would like to ask Dennis Henson to give a little feedback about business plans and how that has worked for your business.
Well, as you mentioned earlier, business plans are really important, especially when you're dealing with lenders. I do a lot of business with small banks, and when I go in and am prepared, I have everything put together, know what I want, what I'm looking for, what my goals are for the year, the kinds of properties that I want. That impresses the lenders. They like to have a big file. They need to make the auditors know that they did their research. I found that out early on in my investing in Texas. So I put together a really nice big business plan, and ever since then, it has made it a lot easier to procure loans from the different banks and also individuals. They like to know that you know what you're doing.
Absolutely. So, you know, when Dennis and I put together Real Impact, that's what we worked on for the first several weeks is we mapped out our business plan. What do we need to do? How do we make this work? How do we structure this? Who do we get involved in this? And take us to the next step. That would not have happened if Dennis and I were not on the same page and put this together. And then we then took our business plan and we took our idea, which came from our business plan, and we took it to great individuals like who's on this call tonight. You know, Doug and Renee Toon they run a fabulous REI group out in East Texas in Longview, and they've been doing that for quite a while. And we were able to take them our ideas of who we are as Impact, and it fell into place of exactly what they do and how they do that, and that worked out incredibly. And our newest IMT Impact Master Trainer is Eric Short, and Eric Short has been doing real estate for many years, and he's been doing some buy and holds and a couple of fix and flips and areas like that. So we were able to take him this idea of what we're doing, and he could see how that could fall into place in his business. And then Karen Maxwell, she saw this, just bam, it was there, and it was something that she saw, and she says, how can I be part of this? And that's how we made this happen. And our other IMTs out there, our other franchise holders, owners out there, business owners out there. They've been able to take this and just take this absolutely to the next level. So, so I don't know, Karen, do you have any questions that are popping up on the chat box yet?
Yeah, we actually have a couple questions, mostly about getting started. Like, how do you create a business plan when you don't know, like you don't have any experience yet? So we'll just get started with those. How can I just ask how each of you guys got started? Would anyone like to just kind of tell us how you got started and at what point you identified your niche and honed in, if you honed in on a niche? Eric, go ahead.
I'd love to. Thanks. That's a great question. As Roger said, I'm finding my way through this. I did band directing. I was a high school band director for 26 years, and I did real estate as a sideline. And now that I've been able to retire from teaching high school, I've been able to focus on this. And one of the things that really helped me focus my efforts was the farm area, finding a farm area where I'm deciding to become an expert in. I live in Arlington, but Grand Prairie is right next door, and so I'm very familiar with Grand Prairie as well. So part of my business plan includes I'm looking for 3-bed, 2-bath houses between 360 and 161 and between 30 and 20. And that way, when I give those criteria to a real estate agent to set up a search, it gives them something very specific to find and to look for and to filter for. So one of the aspects of the business plan, finding your farm area, is what has helped me very much.
Very good. Very good. Doug and Renee, how about you guys?
I mean, it's a really long story, but
But it's a great story, and a lot of people may not have had
it is. So I did my first real estate deal in 2006, but we've been business people for a long time. And I think I've probably been self-employed for the better part of 20 years, and I love it. But I think over all these years, what I've learned the most about a business plan is it's your business plan, and it has everything to do with what you want to do with your business. It really doesn't have anything to do about the structure. However, the structure is important of the business plan, but you have to start with what you want. What do you want to do with this? Do you want to flip houses? Well, I can give you some ideas on why I don't do a lot of flipping. But do you want to do tax sales, or do you want to do wholesaling, or whatever it is that you want to do? That's what you should do, because that's what you will have a passion for. And if you don't have a passion for this business, it will eat you up. So, as far as how we got started, that's really kind of irrelevant, because you're going to start your own business and you need to know what you want to do. And if you have some questions about that, I'd love to sit down with you and just talk, because we've got to hash this out. And I'm talking about, this is on the side. I don't care. You call me, you come see me. We're going to talk this out, because there's things that you can do, and I don't mind. I'm right here. We don't leave this 20 acres very often, except to come to Arlington and have meetings. But
you don't even leave to have meetings.
And I have a little bit of a different take on this than Doug does, even though we've been in this together. I didn't really start in real estate investing until about 3.5 years ago. And I had a huge learning curve. And fortunately, I walked through our gold program training system. And one of the parts that I had to learn in that was to write the business plan. And yes, I shed a few tears going through this process, because it was scary to me. But Doug made me walk through and write that business plan out and think all the things through and come to a realization of what are our goals. And of course, we had to have some discussions about some of those goals and things, but it crystallizes where you want to get to. And when you force yourself into that step, then you can clearly communicate to somebody you're trying to ask for money why they need to loan it to you.
Right. Your plans are like a map. And if you know where you're going, that's where you're going. If you don't know where you're going, you're just a wandering generality. Don't be that.
Right, because you can get there if you know where you're going, you can get there by walking or driving, but you're going to need different provisions depending on how you're going.
Yep.
So depending on what your vehicle is, I'm glad you jumped in, Renee, because that's what I was getting at. Was your guys, like Doug was in this before you? You just fell right into place, and I'm so glad to have you, and I'm so glad to know you guys. Personally. You are a huge impact on my life.
Aww.
So I'll jump in with mine because I think if we go in that order, I came in in 2013. So I think about 8 or 9 years. I don't really count it that way, but anyway, we started off with wholesaling. I was learning the basics of everything, and wholesaling really got my attention because we didn't have money and I had no knowledge about anything real estate at all. I had bought a house that I lived in. That was the extent of my knowledge.
Right.
And we really didn't have a niche except for wholesaling until we started finding properties that we could buy with such little bit of money. So what we did was was wholesale 4 and buy 1 or hold 1. But then we started coming across so many properties that we wanted to hold because they were so inexpensive or subject to or seller financing with 0 down that we had to hold our money so we could close on those and pay. It doesn't cost a lot to pay cash for a house, and to do seller financing with the house, and the closing costs are so minimal whenever you do it that way.
Right.
But we had to make sure we had that money. So that's how we got started, and then just learned, like, as a situation came up, we found the solution that worked for us and our seller, and we made it work. Now, don't get me wrong, there were some during that first couple of years that we couldn't hold, that we really wanted to, but we couldn't because we had no experience. And I wish I had known now what I known then what I know now about writing a business plan, because I had no idea what I was doing, much less how to write a business plan when you have no plan. You're just flying by the seat of your pants. And I was really glad to hear you guys say that. I wrote that down. What are our goals? Because that's what's so important with a business plan, especially when you have business partners. Make sure that all the partners are on the same page. Mm-hmm. Because if one wants to buy and hold and one wants to fix and flip, what's going to happen?
You got a problem.
So you can buy it from your fix and flip. But yeah, you got to make sure that whether it's a married couple or an unmarried couple or business partners that are just strictly, just doing business together, if you're not on the same page, then you're going to have friction. So you need to have that sit down and make that decision prior to going to that bank and then get in front of the banker and saying, oh, we're going to do this. No, we're going to do this. Yeah. Eric, did you have something you wanted to add?
I do. I really like the analogy of the vehicle. You want to make sure it's the same vehicle, because if a Porsche is a great vehicle. Love a Porsche. But if your destination is Hawaii, it's going to be a hard get. So
that's great.
Sure, yeah. So you want to make sure, if you have the same destination in mind, that you agree on a vehicle that will get you there.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Remember my course correction. If we change course 1 degree, we don't want to end up in the ocean. We want to end up in Cancun.
That's right. You'll wind up somewhere else.
That's right. Dennis, go right ahead.
I have another story. I'm writing a book. The name of the book's Real Impact, and I'm writing right now about Walt Disney. So when Disney decided that he wanted to do a theme park, he wanted to have a place where families could come and be together. No one wanted to do that. His brother didn't want to do it, who always raised all the money. His board of directors said, we're not in the theme park business. We're in the movie business, so they wouldn't give him any money. So he said, okay, I'll just start my own business, and then you can't tell me what to do. So he did. And then he turned around and charged Disney for the use of his name and his likeness. So as soon as he got any money from Disney, the first thing he did was bring in his best artists from the studio and set them down and wrote out a business plan and a picture of what Disneyland was going to look like. After he showed that to his brother kind of embraced it. But they went to New York and started talking with banks, and banks all turned him down. 300 banks turned him down. So he thought, well, maybe the television stations are the answer. So there was only 3, CBS, NBC, and ABC was brand new. So he pitched it to the first 2, the old ones, and they just laughed at him. They said, no, we're not interested. That doesn't sound like it's going to work, because theme parks back then didn't exist. There was amusement parks, and they were dirty and kind of sleazy, like a fair or something.
They were on the way out.
So he showed the business plan to ABC, and they loved it. So had it not been for the business plan, we wouldn't have Disneyland or Disney World, because business plans work. I just thought that kind of fit in.
Well, I was just thinking of what you just said. You said he went to 300 banks and was turned down by 3. How many people would give up after, say, the 3rd or the 10th?
Right.
300?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
So, you know, those 299 or 300 banks are kicking themselves now.
Yeah. Right.
Persistence.
Yes.
Dennis, did you want to share anything about whenever you got started? Or how you decided, like, how did it occur to you, or how did you get started?
How I got started in the business, or how I started using a business plan?
In a business plan, like when you decided this is what I'm going to do and wrote your business plan.
I actually covered that just a few minutes ago. It's the same. You know, I decided that people wanted to know that I knew what I was doing, so I put together a plan to show them. It was mostly for banks. When I first started in Texas, I didn't have a lot of money, and I was anxious to get started. So I sat down and I wrote up a business plan, incorporating everything that I had. I said, these are all my assets, and this is what I want to do, and this is how much it's going to cost. I put 20 of those packets together. And some of the banks actually laughed at me. They thought it was funny that I was going to be doing this. But I finally came up with to one bank president in Mansfield. And she looked at me and she said, you know, I'm pretty good at judging people, and I think you're going to be doing pretty well at this. We're going to figure out a way to get you some money. So had I not had those business plans and gone around and presented my case, I would have eventually found some way to get started, but it really helped a lot when the bank was willing to loan me several $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
Right. All right. Well, thank you. Roger, I saw your hand shoot up a while ago.
Yeah, I was going to relay a story about my wife. My wife got into real estate as a realtor before I did, and she developed her own business plan. And it was a phenomenal business plan. And part of it was knowing what broker she was going to go to. She didn't know who the broker was, but she identified what the broker was. She identified who her clients were going to be. She identified where she was going to sell, what she was going to sell, how she was going to sell it. So when she developed that business plan and she got her license, and she started out at a Century 21 office that was very large. And the first thing she did is they didn't really they had some training, but it wasn't what we would consider training today. They kind of just talked about various things. They didn't teach how to do many things at all. And she she started listening in to other realtors and how they had their conversations. She started looking to see where the business came from. But in short, when she got into the real estate business, she had 10 closings in the first 2 months of business, which was about 10 weeks. And nobody in that office even compared to what she was doing, because she had everything mapped out. She knew what she was going to do. She knew where she was going to be. She knew who she was going to work with, and she knew how she was going to process everything she did. So that's one of the best successful business plans of a startup that I've ever seen out there. And I relay that story quite often, but that would have not happened if she didn't have a business plan out there. So, but you talk to any realtor today and you ask them, how many closings did you have in your first 10 weeks of being a realtor? And I have never met one to this day that has done 10 closings in 10 weeks. So that's my story about my wife, Linda Jean.
Well, tell Linda Jean we said good job. Okay, we actually have a question from John. He says, we are starting with development. Does anyone have any do's and don'ts to share?
Well, John, that's a great question. As far as developing, I'm assuming you're developing, I don't know if you're doing the dirt work or what you're doing on that with the development or developing single family houses. But the first, a couple of things that I suggest, that first of all, you have to identify who you are. Who you are as an avatar, which is kind of the go-to word for today. And it's what we do, it's what Dennis has taught all of us to do, is build your affirmation. And with that affirmation, you're going to identify who you are and what you are. And then the next thing you want to identify is who your client's going to be, or in this case, what your development is going to be. And which would be, in my opinion, your client. So you're going to identify what that development is going to be. We have a young man that comes to some of our meetings. He rode with me up to Oklahoma on a meeting that we had up there around Christmas. And I asked him, I said, what do you want more in this life than anything else? And he says, I want to win an Emmy. I'm in music. I write music. I write songs. I sing, and I want to win an Emmy. And I said, okay, now you're going to have to imagine, where are you going to have that Emmy? And he says, what do you mean? And I said, where are you going to have it? Are you going to have it on a bed stand? Or are you going to have it on the hood of your car? Where are you going to put that Emmy?
Fireplace.
He says, well, I'm going to put it on my fireplace mantle.
Yep.
And I said, okay, now imagine what that fireplace mantle is going to look like. And he says, what do you mean? I said, imagine in your mind, tell me what that fireplace is going to look like. Is it brick or rock, or, is a mantle made out of wood? Is it, imagine that mantle. Okay, now imagine the room that fireplace and that fireplace mantle is in, with that Emmy sitting on top of that mantle. Imagine the room that house that is going to be in. Is that going to be a bedroom? Is that going to be a living room? Where's that fireplace going to be? He drilled down to be a living room. All right, now imagine the house. Imagine what that house is going to look like that's going to have that Emmy sitting on top of that fireplace mantle. And then let's go from there. Where's that house going to be? Is the house going to be where you live now? Or is it going to be on the beach? Is it going to be on an island somewhere? Is it going to be in a, are you going to be in a condo in a high rise? So that's what you're going to do, John, on your business plan, is you're going to identify who you are, and you're going to identify your business. You're going to identify that development. What's it going to look like? If you're doing the dirt work and you're putting the streets in and you're putting the sidewalks in and you're selling lots off to builders, you want to totally imagine what that development's going to look like. Okay, if you're building a series of houses, you're going to imagine what those houses are going to look like. You're going to imagine where those houses are going to be. You're going to imagine the roads around it, how many trees are there, et cetera, et cetera. That's my suggestion on you doing a development. Is that's part of your business plan, is you're building that imagination on paper.
Very, very good. Thank you so much for that.
Great.
So I'll go back to the other question. What about before you have 2 years of tax returns? Like, if you don't have any experience, what kind of things can you put on your business plan? And for me, I think that you can it still is all about experience and sharing your vision. This is what I want to do, and this is how I plan to do it. Of course, I hear people all the time, I want to flip a house. Can someone loan me money? And I'm like, well, what kind of experience do you have? Oh, none. So you definitely need to get some experience and partnering with people. But if you share your vision with the right person, you can partner with some great people. And, maybe you don't get 50%, but maybe you get unfounded knowledge and experience from being involved in that. We've got 2 flips going on right now with someone that I've worked with for 7 years now. And we're like 2 peas in a pod when it comes to vision and what we see. And I don't have any problems with it because I trust him completely to make the right choices as far as the decor and what we're going to do, things like that. John, I know John has experience with metal fabrication, so I would be interested to know about his development. So let's see. Okay, he just said thank you. I just want to make sure I didn't miss any questions. But before the first 2 years, if you don't have those first 2 years of tax returns and you can't show any good solid experience, then you need to share your vision and what you see your future holding, and pull out everything. If you painted your own house, you can paint houses. So, Dennis, what any thoughts on people that really are passionate about it, but they may not have? I mean, obviously writing a business plan, but it doesn't need to be overcomplicated. Just kind of share your vision. And anything else?
Well, the business plans that we have our students write, the first 5 weeks of the training, they're really writing their business plan. They just don't know it. Lesson 6 is the business plan. So we really don't ever have a problem, because if they did their homework in lesson 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and so I can kind of cover what the lessons are. The lesson 1 is the tools needed and getting the most. Lesson 2 is making plans. What is it that you're going to do? What kind of properties are you going to be purchasing? What are you going to do with the properties? Are you going to rent them? Are you going to wholesale them? Are you going to retail them? Are you going to owner finance? What are you going to do? And so we have them write out, what their goals are for the year and 5 years and 10 years. And then lesson 3 is putting together a team. And I put that in the business plan. So who's your team? You need to have a mentor, a real estate attorney, a CPA, a number of different realtor specialists, and then there's a great number of others. You need a big team to be in the real estate investing business. So I have them prepare that. That goes in the business plan. Then lesson number 4 is how to find deals. So I say there's 66 ways. We call it 66 ways to find deals. Really, there's over 100, but they choose 1 or 2 or 3 that they really feel like they'll be comfortable doing, and that's what they're going to plan to do. And so that goes in the business plan. And then lesson number 5 is where to find the money, and there's 12 ways that we teach for them to go out and secure funds to purchase the property once they found it. And so that goes in the business plan too. Here's where I'm going to try to find my money. So when we get to lesson 6, there's a great number of questions there that they already know the answer to, which makes it super easy to do the plan. But if you just took good notes, you already know what to put in the plan.
That's right. That's right. Let's see. Oh, and by the way, John confirmed that they are going to be building barn dominiums. So that's John Lyle. He's in Longview, in East Texas area. We love John. He's very active with the Longview group, and so we're glad to have them. And I think that's a great idea. That's something that I like. I recently we're going to be starting building homes from the ground up, and I have zero experience with that. So I can't go in and say, "Oh yeah, I built houses before," but my partners have. So I can rely on their experience for that, and then I'll just make it look pretty. But that's a completely different business plan. Every different business that you have has a different business plan. Roger, did you have
Yeah, I was
something?
just going to say that the program that I feel is a very integral part of making our impact students successful is this business plan. As Dennis says, as we're training our students, we're walking them all the way through every week in the process of building that plan, but they don't know they're building it until they get to week 6 in our lessons. And we walk them through it. We give them examples of business plans. We walk them through building their executive summary, their overview of who their company is, kind of what the history of the company is. Doug and Renee talked about that a while ago on their business, and that he's been an entrepreneur for over 20 years. Who owns the company, et cetera, are the market analysts, and what we're looking for in the market, and what is our farm area, what is our criteria. So when we take these business plans and we share them with others that are involved in our business, it really is a great roadmap. So we talk about, and we help our students put together a financial forecast of where they're going to be financially, or where they need to be financially. And I've been doing business plans all my business life. I got into business out of our garage. And when I was 16, we had to put together business plans. I had lots of help with that, with my controller and my national sales manager and export manager, and we would all put that together, and then we would make that happen, and we would give that to the bank. We talk about in our business plan maintenance. Where are we going to be? It's the 5 M's, is what Dennis has taught us all. The 5 M's of real estate investing. We talk about our sales and our marketing projections. We talk about if we're going to be using, what we're going to be doing with the properties, and what our business plan is on that. But putting this together is very simple when you have the right direction. There's anybody can find anything on the internet, but it may not be what the bank's looking for. And Dennis and I have been doing this business long enough, and the other IMTs have been doing this business long enough, or doing business long enough, to know what the banks are looking for. And that's what we do, is we help our students, and we help people involved in real impact to make that happen. I've got 2 students I'm working with right now. We did, our last lesson was the business plan, and they immediately got 2 properties under contract, making incredible money on those. I haven't closed on them yet, but they had their business plan in place. And I'm just so impressed with what they have learned in the first 6 weeks of this business. It is just, I met with them this afternoon, and met with them yesterday at a couple of houses. Oh my gosh, it just amazes me how everything just kind of just falls into place. Just every cog in the wheel falls into the perfect position.
When you follow the steps, huh?
They're getting more and more comfortable with where they're at in business.
That's awesome.
So that's just my, it's thrilling for all of us that are teaching our students and working with our our people that we work with, it is absolutely phenomenal to work with successful people, should I say.
Because that's what we want. We want our students to be successful because we want to change their lives through real estate investing. That is our goal with everyone. Doug and Renee?
Yeah. So I just pulled this out of my file today, knowing we were going to talk about this. This is the business plan that we put together when Dennis took us through our gold program. And he was exactly right. We had everything ready to go when we put it all together. And I'm just going to do an outline. Basically, the first thing is executive summary, which is just an outline, just telling them about yourself. And then there's this is the wrong page. That's an overview. But the next thing, page.
Well, this is 2.
2.
There it is.
Yeah. Page 3, that's market analysis. So you're basically telling them what you're looking for. And then the next thing is page 4 is financial forecast. Okay. So how are we going to pay for these properties? And then a maintenance plan. How are we going to maintain them? A sales and marketing projections. We actually have the breakdown of what we own, so that we can show them this is what we have already. And thanks to John, I think that I have put my numbers together, and it's a lot more than what I thought. And then implementation and property management we have in here, and important assumptions. And that's when you assume that this is going to happen, or I assume that this is going to happen with your business. And those things kind of draw a line for you in the sand to direct you in the direction that you're going to go. So,
yeah. Well, actually, that kind of brings me full circle to the latest question, which is from Nick. He asks, are your business plans always evolving with a changing market, changing deals? And are there any other variables of change? Has anybody ever made a business plan and said, this is it? Nope, that's not in the business plan. I'm not doing that one. I bet Dennis wouldn't. Dennis will do anything that's a deal.
Well, things change all the time, obviously, but the way our business plan is put together, it makes it really easy because there's only certain parts of it that you would want to change. I have a funny story about that. Earlier, probably 10 years ago, I had a student come through the training. And at the time, I had several banks I was working with. And I told him, if you'll go to these banks and tell them that you're working with me, then you'll have an easier time. So he was on lesson 6, and he was putting his business plan together, and he had an appointment with the banker the next day. And so he didn't quite finish. So he thought, well, I'll just leave out the important assumptions and just give him the rest of the business plan.
Mm-hmm.
So he went in and met with the banker, and he gave him the business plan, and the banker read it all the way through, and he looked up at him and he said, you left out your important assumptions. I guess I'd sent enough of my students through there so that the banker already knew what he was going to look for in the business plans. That's a true story. I thought it was funny.
That's great. You left a part out. The dog ate my homework. Okay, I guess we're going to be wrapping up now. We have about 10 minutes left. Does anybody want to add anything before I start going over announcements?
Well, Karen, I do have, talking about announcements, I do have one announcement.
What's that?
And we have lots of people asking when we're going to do our next full day, our next full day subject to.
Okay.
And we have that set for June the 18th. I'm sorry, is it June the 19th or June the 18th? Whatever that Saturday is in June.
Check my calendar.
In Oklahoma City.
June 18th.
June the 18th. Okay. In Oklahoma City. So if you're interested in that, talk to any of your local IMTs, or you can go to realimpacttraining.com. Send us a message. We'll have that up on the website this week for registration. And it's been very successful. We got a great testimonial from a gentleman at the last Subject 2 we did in Fort Worth back at the end of last year. And we'll have that testimonial up on our website. But it's absolutely amazing. I was teaching the class. We broke for lunch. He came over and sat down with me, and he said, "I just want to thank you." And I said, "Okay." I said, "What for?" And he says, "I was at your at a previous class. I don't know if it's the last one he did that or not, but he was at the previous class." And he said, "I had never done a real estate deal in my life. I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know how to do real estate. And I went to your class, and in the next 12 months, I bought 25 houses in 12 months without ever doing a deal before." He did them by Subject 2. So that is what we're going to be doing. Subject 2 is acquiring a property without any of your own debt, but you're buying, or you're getting the deed to that property. So we're going to be doing that in June in Oklahoma City. And we are looking forward to having June 18th. Yes, June 18th in Oklahoma City. And if you're interested in that, reach out. It's going to be a phenomenal. It's an all-day Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. You're going to get all the documents you need. You're going to get a workbook. You'll get a copy of my book if you don't already have one. If you even have one, you can have a copy of it again. And
what's the cost on that one?
What's that, Karen?
What's the cost on that?
The price on that early bird price is $299 for the first person and $100 for a guest. If you have a third guest, they're going to be $299, and then their guest will be $100. So it kind of starts over again. So
$299 for one, $100 for the second person.
Yes,
that's it.
Absolutely.
Then it starts over.
It starts over. We got to say that on every deal, because we got people. I've got 15 people want to go for $100. Well, that's
me too.
We got to pay for the room. We've got to pay for the food and all that kind of stuff. So we do have an expense for this. But we're going to be excited about it. We'll have that on. We'll have location on there once David and Tal get that in place. We're working on making sure we have the right venue. It'll be classroom style, and we're going to drill through this. We're going to teach you how to market. We're going to teach you how to find properties. We're going to teach you what to do with those properties. We're going to talk about wraps. We're going to talk about working with RMLOs if you're doing a wrap, working with servicing companies, that type of basis. So we're excited. I love doing that full day class. So I look forward to seeing all of you on June the 18th. So Karen, you got the other announcements?
I do. I was trying to find my thumb drive that goes in there, but I've had it out. But he also gives you the thumb drive with all the documents on it, so it's really cool. So if you can make it, if you want to learn more about Subject 2, how to do it start to finish, make sure you try to attend Roger's meeting in Oklahoma City. Yes, sir, Dennis.
Well, in August, that's in June. In August, we've made arrangements with Alan Cowgill to come in. He's going to be here the entire week, ending August the 20th. He knows more about private lending than any person I've ever met. He has a really interesting presentation, so he's going to be here for an all-day event.
August 20th.
August 20th. Mark your calendar. It's probably going to be in Hearst. And then, Karen, are you going to tell about the getaway?
I am. So make sure y'all put it on your calendars for August 20th when Alan Cowgill is going to be here talking about private money. If you need to know about private money, who doesn't need to know how to get private money? Going to need a business plan, by the way. Make sure that y'all put that on your calendars. But September the 21st to the 25th, Real Impact is going to Cancun. We are going to Now Jade Sapphire. Is that right? No.
It's
Now
Dreams Jade.
Now Jade Cancun.
Dreams Jade.
It's a Dreams. I misled you last week.
Oh, Dennis.
It's not Now anymore. It's been upgraded to a Dreams.
It's been upgraded to a Dreams.
Much nicer. Got better food, a lot more.
You guys are in for a treat. If it's a Dreams, okay, so Dreams Jade Cancun. Awesome. Thank you so much for clarifying that, Dennis, because I knew that we had changed it, but okay. It is fantastic. This is an all-inclusive trip. to the resort. You do still have to pay for your airfare to and from Cancun and your airport transportation from the airport to the resort. We definitely suggest that you get your tickets bought early. The last time I checked, we only had 8 tickets left at the $11.95 price.
7.
As we had to buy more. Have we bought more yet, Dennis?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
We only have 7 left, though.
We have 7 tickets left at this time. So for $1,195, you get all-inclusive resort for 4 people, 2 adults and up to 2 children 12 years of age and under. So 2 adults with no children, or 2 adults with 2 children under 12. When we say all-inclusive, we mean all-inclusive. You can eat as often as you want. You can have room service. You can have it's the alcohol and the sodas and waters, and they have it in your room. You can go to the bar. You can go to the pool. You can sit down at dinner. It's all included. And this is not just sandwiches. This is not this is not fast food. This is gourmet food. Oh my gosh, the buffet. Dennis, I don't even know how many times Dennis ate breakfast while he was waiting on everyone to arrive, because you can literally sit there and just graze all day. But the point of the Mastermind Getaway is to network. And so we'll have many experts there that will be networking with everyone. We'll have some we don't do a lot of class time, like a lot of meeting time, because we want you to be able to network with everyone. So we have these small sessions where we have, like, everybody gets together and talks about whatever topic we're talking about. Last year was about our goals and our visions. And I can't tell you how many people they were re-energized and focused on getting back into real estate as their vehicle. And Dennis really ignited the passion in several people that I personally know. But we're talking networking at the pool, networking at dinner, over breakfast, over brunch, out on the beach, going on excursions together, just simply being in the pool, talking to someone about what they do. Tell me what you do. And then they tell you what they do. And then you're like, oh my gosh, that's the solution to the problem that I've been trying to fix. It's absolutely phenomenal. I've gone to, I think, 4. And they're unmatched. They're absolutely unmatched. We had 60 people last year from Oklahoma City. Well, Randy is in Chicago or Cancun, depending on what day it is. I think he's about not even 50-50. I think he's in Cancun more than he is Chicago. But from all over Oklahoma and Texas and other areas, and we have I don't know who all the speakers are, who all the experts are. Dennis might be able to help us with that.
We have Randy Hughes, Tammy Schmidt, Karen Maxwell, Roger Pascal.
And all the IMTs.
Right, and we're talking with a couple of others.
Awesome. Well, we are super excited as the agenda unfolds. And so if you want to go to this, make sure you go to mastermindgetaway.com. mastermindgetaway.com, purchase your ticket. It'll get you right in there, and then we'll start communicating with you, make sure we have your flight information, because Norma handles all that. She makes sure everybody gets there, and, well, not make sure everybody gets there, but she makes sure that we are looking for you. And if you have any questions about it, want to know anything else, just make sure you reach out to any of us. We'll be happy to answer any questions. And that's all I have.
I have a
Very
suggestion.
good.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Dennis, did you have something?
Well, I had a suggestion that if you have a calendar and you have those dates on your calendar, that you just go ahead and write in Mastermind Getaway. Don't go on and purchase the ticket yet. Don't get the flight information yet. Just put it on your calendar, and that will drive you to maybe want to do this even more. So if you just put it on your calendar,
That's the bullseye.
you'll be thinking about it.
Absolutely.
Really
I can fully agree with that. I booked my ticket I booked my ticket before I told anybody about it, by the way. As soon as I knew that link was live, I was like, let me grab my seat. Okay, now I can tell everybody.
Right.
All
Can't
right,
wait
good
to see
deal.
y'all.
Thank you, everybody, for being on here tonight. I really appreciate it. The business plan, make your business plan work for you. Do some research on that. Get with any of us. We can help walk you through that. It is what you need to do. I am always blown away with the success of our students as we put this together and they put together their business plan and what immediately starts happening, because now they understand where they're at. They understand who they are and how to go out and reach out and find these properties. So I'm excited about that. So excited to have everybody on here tonight, and we will be on for next week. Reach out to us. Look for YouTube. Click on there. Click the reminder on there. We'd love to have you on here. So thank you all for being on here.
Yes, make
Everybody
sure
have a
you
good
like and subscribe and hit the bell so you'll get our notifications every Sunday night at 7:00 unless it's a holiday. Dennis, did you want to add
Absolutely.
one more thing?
Nope. Just say
Nope.
good night.
Just waving.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night,
Talk to you later.
everyone.
Bye.
Tommy, why don't you go on?
All right.
Oh.
Can everybody hear me? All right. So I knew nothing about real estate in November of 2017. And I took a class, learned a little bit of the basics. Didn't know how to acquire a property. Like most of y'all, I thought, gosh, I have a little bit of money, but this is kind of tough. Where do I even begin, right? So I discovered Roger in 2018 and took his Subject 2 class. I think it was in Fort Worth. And it was pretty cool, right? I mean, everything you're learning, you guys are just at the beginning of the class today. But halfway through the day, I started realizing, wow, there's really, really something to this. So I went out and I aggressively found the attorney, found the CPA, did my marketing. And that's actually when Facebook was actually working for marketing. And so my first year, starting summer of 2018 until summer of 2019, we acquired 26 properties with Subject 2 in 1 year. Yep, 26. Unfortunately, here's the downside. I'm like, what do I do with these properties as we're picking them up? So we moved out of the 26, we ended up selling 21 of them. And today we still have 5 of that original first batch of the first year. But since then, once I finally learned how to keep properties long-term, we keep them. So now we got a pretty simple model. We keep every property. We never sell a property except owner financing. So if it's in a great school district, I keep it for a rental. If it's not in the perfect school district and it's under a certain price point, for me, you're like today's value, if it's under $300,000, and it's in a bad school district, I just owner finance it out. And I move them, gosh, 1 week, 2 weeks tops. I've got a buyer, 10% down, 10% interest. So it's pretty good. It's a simple model. And once you get going with it, it's you just don't turn back. It's easy, very easy. Thanks to Roger.
All right, well, thank you, Tommy.